In our everyday life, sometimes we get these small texts or phone calls from our known people asking, "How are you? What are you doing?" and all these questions. And in our busy schedule, sometimes we don't feel like answering them. We think they're not much important and we can text back later. That is absolutely fine. But what we don't understand always that a small text or a phone call is an effort from the other person to stay connected with us. And at the end of the day, when everything else settles down, we understand that it carries so much stories. And it happened to me personally as well a number of times that somebody called me to just ask something or to know something. Then we kept talking about our professional life, how everything is going on, and in general talks about life. So at the end of the day, a small phone call or a text sometimes doesn't remain just a phone call or a text. It becomes stories about people. In our universal consciousness, we are all connected. But we don't feel that always. And many a times, this feeling of disconnection with the society, with others, and our known people makes us distressed. And in that context, a small phone call or a text are sometimes reminders that no, you are all connected. When an incident of suicide happens around us, there is a hue and cry around. There are talks about mental health. There are talks about preventing suicide and how to form a task force and so many things. But before that, we have to understand that are we actually connected with each other? When we are seeing an incident of suicide, we should know that beyond that, there are people who are much more in number, probably who have not committed suicide, but they have done self-harm in the form of cutting their wrist or consuming medicines or any other form. And there are even greater number of people who have not done any attempt, but they have thought about committing suicide, or the idea of death or ending one's life have come to their mind. So these people who have not committed suicide, but the suicidal ideation has come to their mind, or they have somehow harmed self, they are much bigger in number, and they are in our community itself, in our friend circle, in our circle of colleagues, among the people we live in. So when we are maintaining a connection with the people around us, maybe at some point of time, the other person, he will be in need of somebody to talk to, and he will share a particular thing, and that may be a prevention of a potential future suicide. So staying connected with people around us in our own small ways is one of the best and affordable ways of prevention of suicide. And you should know this, that the problems we suffer in our personal life, sometimes a very big thing happened in somebody's life, that somebody died in their family, somebody is suffering from financial issues, somebody is having a real trouble in their family or whatever. We think that we cannot provide solution to that person, but it is not exactly expected from us as well that we have to provide the exact solution to that person. Even when you listen to that person very attentively, even if he doesn't understand the clinical jargons, he understands that this person is genuinely trying to care for me. And after sharing his story, sometimes he feels like, yeah, I do have trouble. I do have so many issues in life, but somebody listened to me. I feel valued and I feel listened. And this is probably one of the best feelings that you can provide to the other person when he is in distress. And many of the times, after sharing the whole story, the other person says that, yeah, I have these issues, but let's see. So mind it, this phrase, let's see, is important. Because before some time, the same person was saying there is no way out, probably this is the end of my life and I have to finish it altogether. But now, when you listen to him properly, at the end of the conversation, he adds that, okay, let's see. So it is him only who is trying to find the solution, and he will do that eventually. All you have to do is to be there. So you helped him to reframe the situation just by listening to him carefully. When we see somebody around us suffering from some psychiatric problem, taking help of a psychiatrist or going to counseling, we feel that is it okay to ask that other person about suicide, or have you ever thought about ending your life? Isn't it putting the idea of suicide in the person's mind? Most of the researchers say that there is no added harm in asking a person directly that have you ever felt like doing this thing, because it opens a scope of a broader discussion. Probably the person who is suffering, he was trying to find a scope to talk about this thing in detail, and you provided that scope, and that helped him to identify his own thoughts as well. That helped him to actually reframe the context as well. So there is no harm in asking this question when somebody is in distress, but make sure that you ask this question gently and with empathy. That is the only time when somebody will feel secure to express his genuine emotions. Because remember this, that when somebody is opening up with their deepest emotions and feelings, he is not expecting solution always. He is not expecting a clinical expertise always. But he wants to feel secure, especially with the other person he is talking to. So make sure this thing that you listen to him calmly, quietly, and with empathy, and give him the space and the security. So in the process of helping others or listening to them, it is also important to respect their boundary as well. If a person feels that it is not okay for me to talk about suicidal things, or I don't feel like sharing my distress, it is important to respect their boundary as well. Probably he is trying to find his own ways out, and he will do that eventually. So respect that and stay in touch with them, because probably he is trying to find his own ways out. So till then, respect the boundary and be there. And if we think that who is the person who is at risk of committing suicide, unfortunately there is no particular test or a specific sign or symptom that will tell us the exact possibility. But yes, if somebody had an attempt previously, if somebody is having a frequent mood fluctuation, if somebody suddenly becomes cheerful after staying morose for a long time, those can be a warning signs. Now a person who was having depression for a long time, when he suddenly becomes cheerful, he is doing a lot of work, sharing a lot of things with others, we don't always mind. We feel like, oh, this person is doing good after a long time, so it feels good. But many a times it can be a marker of sudden mood change or shifting to the other pole of the mood, and this person who was not having the courage to commit suicide previously, now after being determined to do so, he is feeling cheerful, and also that should be taken seriously. At least you should keep an eye on that person. Try to keep in contact with them in brief interactions. These brief intervention techniques are actually being appreciated throughout the world, even in first world countries. When a person is discharged after a hospital admission for some psychiatric issues, they are recommending to keep a small contact with each person in form of text or mail or calls, so that the other person always gets some scope or the opportunity to open up whenever he is in need to share something. And if you see other person is genuinely suffering from some psychiatric issues, do take him to a psychiatrist or a psychologist to talk to. But at the same time, always remember that the best thing that you can do for that other person is to be there and listen to him. So staying connected is one of the most affordable yet very important ways of preventing any unfortunate outcome of the people around us. So stay well. Thank you very much for listening.